Hello friends, Mel Jeffcoat here, and here's another video for my 30-day challenge of posting a video every day. And for the last several days we've been talking about Ramon Lull, the medieval philosopher who came up with this very complicated and interesting method of training your mind to think more thoroughly. Now, over the last few videos I went over very briefly for an overview of sort of the main components of his system, and I'm sure if you have no experience already with it, you're probably pretty confused, and that's okay. We're going to get there. We're going to take a deep dive into each of the elements and see how they fit together. But before I get there, I want to sort of address why you would want to do this in the first place. And to do that, we need to talk about something that is actually separate from Ramon Lull's system, and that is a practice called discursive meditation. Now, discursive meditation was originally developed I'm not entirely sure when, but quite a long time ago. And its original purpose was to focus the mind on God. It was used in a religious context for a long time. But at some point, some people started to realize that this practice could be applied to thinking about anything, focusing and thinking deeply about any subject that you want. So what is discursive meditation? You can tell by its name, discursive, that it is a discourse. It takes the form of having a conversation in your mind where you explore a particular subject. It's called a theme, the subject that you're trying to explore. That's your theme of meditation. And it is a meditation because you are in a meditative state when you are exploring your theme. So what does that look like? You can find instructions online. I'm going to briefly talk about it in this video. You can also, shameless plug, take a look at my book, which you can get on my website. Follow the link in the description. And in that, I give thorough instructions on how to do discursive meditation, and I also fit it into a greater workflow for reading and understanding and collecting your knowledge and processing it. So discursive meditation, you spend a few minutes just getting into a meditative state. And there's various ways you can do that. You can, there's breathing exercises, you can do relaxation exercises, focus. There's a number of different ways that you can do that. But basically, you get into a meditative state, and once in like 5 minutes you spend on that. And then after that, you think of your theme. And your theme needs to be something small, because if you want to think about like the entire nature of courage as a concept, for example, that's way too big. You could barely scratch the surface in one meditation session. So you want to choose something specific, like to continue with courage. Perhaps you've just read The Wizard of Oz and you want to explore whether or not the lion was already courageous before he met the wizard. That might be a small enough theme. Still might take several sessions to go through all of that. You might want to even break it down further, like in a specific scene, is he courageous? So that's sort of how you can break down a theme, and it takes practice to figure out what is an appropriate level of detail to be thinking about. But once you have your theme, you start by repeating it to yourself, and then you methodically follow out every strand of ideas that comes off of that. In your theme, the very first thing that you think of that's related, take it as far as you can go. And once you get to the end of that strand of thought and you can't think of anything more related to that particular part of it, then you go back to your main theme and you see what else you can think of. And you just keep following that tree structure where you take one branch, as I call it, and follow it out as far as you can go, as far as it's interesting. And then when you're done with that branch, you go back to your trunk. Now, this is all very well and good. This is sort of theoretically how it's supposed to happen, but of course there's the issue of distracting thoughts. So how you deal with distracting thoughts in this process, it's going to happen. Especially when you're a beginner, you'll have a lot of distracting thoughts. But once you notice that you have gotten distracted and you're thinking about something other than your theme, you don't just jump straight back to your theme. Try to remember what led you to that thought, and to follow the train back, and back until you get to where you went wrong. And that can be difficult. You might end up using most of your meditation session just following distracting thoughts back to where they started. That's okay, because you're still building the ability to follow the chains of thoughts forwards and backwards. And that will stand you in good stead, because if you keep up with it, eventually you'll notice your distracting thought only 2 or 3 steps away from your main theme rather than 20, for example. And it becomes shorter and shorter to follow your way back and refocus your mind on your theme. So that is discursive meditation. The way that Ramon Lull fits into this is that his system generates huge numbers of things to think about. Basically, his system will generate so many themes. When you're in the middle of a theme, you can use his system to generate branches of thought to explore that theme, and to do it systematically so that you know that you haven't missed anything. Because if you follow his full system for anything that you're exploring, you will have looked at every possible permutation that could come up. So that is where the value, I think, comes in, is Lull's system, the Lullian art, is a way to keep your mind focused on a particular thing that you are exploring, and to make sure that you look at it systematically and get everything out of it that you can possibly get. So we'll continue on with Lull next time. We'll start taking a little bit deeper look at some of the elements that I've already brought up. And thanks for watching, and until next time, keep exploring.